Fan culture has existed for decades now. What's today known as fandom can be traced as far back as the 2nd and 3rd centuries with artistic renditions of Bible writings. Although the term fandom didn't come to be until the early 1900s, being used to describe fans of sport. Since then, the word has grown and taking on a new meaning, now being heavily associated with pop culture and the nerds. Fandom is normally considered lower brow entertainment and often operates on the fringes of society, weaving in and out of mainstream entertainment depending on how deep you want to wade into the fandom waters. But while most see fandom as something odd and unimportant to their day-to-day, for some, fandom is a crucial part of their lives. It allows them a gateway to explore identity and create lifelong bonds with others. And fan creators are the beating heart of this complex web. Fan works are typically divided into 3 categories that every nerd is familiar with: fanfic, fan art, and cosplay. While all 3 of these are crucial to fandom and modern pop culture, I'm going to focus on fan art today. Fan art is exactly what it sounds like: works of art created by fans of something about said something. Fan art is found all over the internet on sites like Tumblr, Pinterest, Instagram, Blue Sky, and more. It's especially taken off in the age of the internet, although fan art was just as easy to find in the pre-internet era if you knew where to look or created it yourself. Fan fiction is lucky enough to have a site like Archive of Our Own to protect and archive their work. The world of cosplay is a little more unknown to me since I'm not a part of that community, but fan art has very little to no protection against large IPs that would come after them. Fan artists are taking the original work and putting their own artistic spin on it, combining items from culture, fandom, their own experiences, and more to create something beautiful and new. But fan art is often not seen as real art, much like how fanfic isn't seen as real writing. It's partially because of this view on fan art that there are so few protections for fan artists. Even though fan art has been a part of the art world for years and has built up some of the most successful, well-remembered artists to date. So where does fan art fit into the contemporary world? And why isn't it better regarded? To start off, what even is contemporary art? Contemporary art is defined as art that is current. Nowadays, the most common or well-known contemporary art would be modern art, with its minimalist bananas taped to walls and singular lines of paint on a canvas. But fan art also falls under this definition. Most of the art that young artists create today as they're learning is fan art. I know that for me personally, fan art is the first form of drawing that I was really passionate about, and it taught me a lot about drawing. It gives young artists a safe space to explore and learn skills that will carry them further into their artistic practices, even if they don't go into art schools and creative industries. Fan art also helps artists to gain followers and traction on social media sites, where a lot of employers and jobs browse for artists nowadays. The more eyes on your work, the more likely landing a job or receiving a commission is, which can be a crucial source of income for artists. Fan art also helps artists and non-artists alike to explore identity and connect with others like them. The exploration of marginalized identity is such a crucial part of fandom and the experimentation that fan art entails, creating an interesting critique and commentary on the rest of culture through familiar and easily understood elements that come from the original pop culture work. So, why is fan art so shunned by the art world? Fan art has long held a place in contemporary art, believe it or not. Paintings like The Last Supper, The Creation of Adam, Birth of Venus, School of Athens, and more are all very famous religious paintings. Paintings that are, technically, fan art of the Bible.
All of those biblical paintings, like, on, like, the ceilings of churches and stuff, were commissioned by the church for, like, the masses who don't know how to read, because literacy was not a thing in, like, early, like, 14th, 15th, 16th, like, even into, like, the 17th century, like, that wasn't a thing. So a lot of the reasons why religious art was the fan art at the time was just because, like, there weren't a whole lot of other stories being told. Like, the Bible was, like, the story. The Bible was to them essentially what, like, Marvel or Star Wars is to us. like that was there. Like they had like folk stories, and people on their own would make art about those. But one of the big things that you could rely on, like everyone at the time knowing, was just the Bible. So they were like, we want that one. Everyone knows that one. Put her up there.
None of the artists who created these paintings came up with the characters or settings they painted. All of those came from stories in the Bible. These artists, just like modern fan artists, were responsible for things like compositions, color, character designs, etc., but they do not own the story from which their pieces hail. So why are these paintings so well regarded and praised, while modern fan artists are shunned and cast out? Part of it has to do with the subject matter of the fan art itself. These historical paintings are of Bible scenes, and the Bible and religion have always been regarded as higher brow, intelligent, and worthwhile. Therefore, the works centered around the Bible and religion would be thought of very highly, especially when those pieces were commissioned by the churches themselves, during an era when reading and writing skills were things only the rich and powerful had. The pictures ensured that the less wealthy population could still receive and understand the church's stories and religion. Today, fan art isn't usually commissioned by people in power. It's instead done by the average person. The roles have been reversed as society changed and the lower classes became more educated. Creating an art is now more accessible, especially compared to the Renaissance era when many of these religious pieces were made. So instead of fan art being made by and for the rich, it's made by and for the people. So it's way less desirable or liked by those who have the power to pay artists or ruin their careers with lawsuits. The good news is that things are slowly changing. Fan artists are widely supported online by other fans and communities who fight back against these larger corporations when they start to come after artists. There have also been multiple instances where artists have been hired or noticed by companies for their fan art. Artist Derek Loffman was hired by Marvel after years of creating and posting fan art in his spare time. That fan art gained enough popularity online and among fans that higher-ups at Marvel took notice and reached out to him with a job opportunity. Sky Henwood was an avid fan of Vivian Medrano and her indie project Has Been Hotel, and spent years making fan art and begging her friend, who worked on the animation team, to help her get a job working for the studio. Now, she's the animation director for multiple of the studio's projects, and was recently given the chance to write and co-direct a pilot for Homestuck. And there are many more artists who have been drawing fan art of a series or fandom for years, and have been hired by companies either because of their fan art or because of the skills that drawing fan art taught them. Up-and-coming creators also have a more positive attitude towards fan artists. So, while the place of fan artists in the contemporary art world is shaky at best, it still remains an important part of culture and art, even if it's not as widely recognized. There are companies and people who see the value in what we create and want us to continue. Fandom is and always has been a community. And as a community, we'll be there for each other no matter what happens next.
What is fandom? Fandom was the friends we made along the way. But actually, legit kind of. Yeah. Help.
That can be it if you want it to be it.
Beautiful. And cut. I have 3 other interviews to do today and a movie to film entirely tomorrow. It's a busy life for Marilyn Monroe.